And here we go, everybody. I am currently inching my way along I-95 because this is the way that Waze wanted me to go home to this morning. But I also wanted to give this a shot. I have no idea the quality of the stream because Streamlabs is telling me I'm streaming at 0 frames per second. That's not what I would call quality streaming, everybody. But let me just see if I can get home first, and then we'll talk about the quality of the stream. How do I feel? Well, right now I'm just gonna pad a bit because this is a pretty raw start we're doing right here. I'm jumping in with both feet. I am connected to chat according to this. Where am I? Oh, North 17. Okay, good. So I'm almost where I need to be. Yeah, I can tell we're getting more and more out of the pandemic because there is now traffic on there's now traffic on 95. There's now traffic on I-95. So we
heavy traffic reported ahead.
Yeah, thanks Waze. Thanks Waze. All right, we are crossing the Rappahannock River here in Virginia. It is a balmy, nasty July morning. But what a morning. What a morning.
Accident reported ahead.
Aha. Yes, I am live. I am live, Jason. How are you? Good to see you in chat. I am live, but I'm also being safe. If you're wondering how can T drive and look at his camera at the same time, here's the trick. I'm stuck in traffic. So I'm traveling at a whopping 12 miles an hour. So I can go on ahead and I can afford the occasional glance at chat and the occasional glance at traffic. But for the most part, I am focused. I'm focused on the task at hand, which is getting home. And now that it's about 3 minutes, I'll go on ahead and let folks know you are watching my stream, the T Monster. You're watching my stream on an unexpected stream. This is a live stream from the dash of my car. Oh, I'll be safe. Don't worry, I'll be safe. Oh, there's the accident. Oh shoot, was that Phil? No, that wasn't Phil. Okay, good. Phil drives an SUV, so we're good. But yes, I will be safe. Don't worry, I will be safe. I actually did this yesterday. I did this yesterday when I was traveling to...
Accident reported ahead.
Which was really back there. On the way to the Belle Plantation, I did an Instagram live. My first ever Instagram live. And I both loved it and hated it, because the original plan was to do this really fun pre-ghost hunt stream, right? That was the original plan, a pre-ghost hunt stream. And we were going to talk about what we were going to plan to do, how things were going to go, all that stuff. Heavily buffering at times, probably.
Police reported ahead.
I'm probably buffering hard, mainly because I'm driving and streaming at the same time. I'm curious though if the video is buffering, how is the audio? Is the audio working at all? If the audio is also off, then I may pull over.
In half a mile, turn right.
I may pull over and just disable or actually downscale some of the stuff that's on this phone. Downscale some of the frame rates and things like that. But I am curious as to how this is going. Of course, I don't want to do that now because right now I'm driving.
In 0.1 miles, turn right, and then keep left.
Audio is good mostly, but that's good to know. So how was it? I'm going to get to that. I am going to get to that. First off, let me do one quick thing here. Let's see. Let me just get rid of Waze. There we go. And Adam, good to see you in chat as well. Good to see you in chat. So let me start from the beginning. How you doing, everybody? Because now I'm seeing that I'm streaming at 30 frames per second, and that my kilobaud per second is rocketed up. Probably because I got off the interstate, and now I'm in an area that is Wi-Fi friendly. But I am the T Monster. You can call me T. You can call me T Monster. You can call me Twitch Dad. And this is an unexpected stream. This is my post-mortem of last night's ghost hunt. That's, ghost hunt, paranormal investigation, whichever you feel comfortable talking about. It the more polite term is paranormal investigation, but for the sake of analytics and for the sake of streaming, I'm just calling it a ghost hunt. And this is the post-mortem. I basically got to bed this morning at about 3 a.m. and woke up at 7. And it really was an amazing night. It looks like an amazing night. Panic, speaking of amazing people and amazing things from the other night, Panic was amazing. Both Panic and Kat really stood yeoman's watch over the stream, and I really do appreciate it. So if I could get some hype in stream for Panic, I would really appreciate it. Just command hype, and Panic, that's for you. You did great. You did great. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. So where to begin? Because I will tell you this about last night. It flew by. It absolutely flew by. We started the investigation proper at about 12:15, 12:20, and I'll explain that in just a second. But yeah, 12:15, 12:20, we started the stream or the investigation, and before we knew it, it was 1:30 in the morning. And we had a blast, Steve. We had an absolute blast. It was ridiculously fun. It was just a wow, man. I tell you what, Steve, if we ever get an opportunity to do something like that with Phil, all three of us are going to do it, because man, whew. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Let me start from the very beginning. First off, I'll make a long story short. I was waiting for Phil to pick me up, right? This is yesterday, waiting for Phil to pick me up, and while we're waiting, Pip and I are watching this wonderful movie called Ophelia. It is basically Hamlet from the point of view of Ophelia, and Ophelia is played by Daisy Ridley. This movie was just beautiful. I mean, really, really well done. And I cannot stress enough, if you appreciate Shakespeare, you'll love this movie. If you love Shakespeare, this movie is going to blow your mind. It's great. I absolutely loved this film. But when we got to the end of it, I noticed it was starting to get a little late, and I was like, Phil said he was on the road an hour ago. I thought he'd be here by now. So Pip and I are then switching our attentions to Formula One racing, because there are these YouTube videos about Formula One analysis. We wanted to look at the crash between Hamilton and Verstappen, and just try to get we had our opinions, but we wanted to see someone else's opinion on it, and we were doing this while we were waiting for Phil. And then Pip asked, I wonder what the standings are now for the constructors team championships. So I went onto Instagram to see, okay, I want to go on and see where see what the standings are. So I pull them up, or at least I go to Instagram to pull up the standings in F1. And the first thing I see is the Don't Turn Around podcast account, and it's Phil. And Phil is at Belle Grove Plantation saying, I have arrived. And I'm like, what? And I go to the text messages that he sent back at 1 o'clock, and he said, yeah, I'm on the road. I'm pretty sure I've forgotten something. And I responded, yeah, you forgot something. You forgot me. I'm waiting for you to pick me up. And he was like, oh, noes. So I throw everything I had set aside. I throw everything I had in the car, and I get to the site. Sadly, I missed the interview that I was going to join Phil in with the owner of the Belle Grove property, who agreed to be interviewed for the Don't Turn Around podcast. She was a delightful lady. And she runs the bed and breakfast. We get there, we set up the room, and everything. I was having technical issues straight off the bat, so I know I'm going to have to buy some new cables, because a couple of my cables I think have shorted out. But everything gets set up, we're good, we're ready to go. And then we go to the first thing. We go to the first event that we're doing for the night. And the first event is we meet up with someone from, and I'm going to shorten the name. It's a very complicated name for their group, but I'm just going to go ahead and call them the Fredericksburg Paranormal Society. And we met up with a representative of the Fredericksburg Paranormal, and we hung out with him for a bit, and then started up an investigation in the caretaker's house. Now, I honestly thought that we're probably going to be buffering again, Jason. I'm going into a slightly dicey area, so hopefully you'll be able to hear my audio, but the video will probably buffer. So anyway, we get into the caretaker's house. I thought we were going to be taking a tour of the entire plantation, the entire facility. Yeah, fun streaming from a car. I know, right? You know, I'm trying new things. I'm trying out new things. And, well, sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it ain't. Yeah, so long as the audio is good, I think. So long as the audio is good. And yes, I'm still being very careful. You know, kids don't text and drive, but streaming and driving, you're good. So long as you keep your eyes on the road and not necessarily chat. So anyway, instead of doing a tour of the entire plantation, we just went to the caretaker's house. And the caretaker's house is one of the more reputed areas, hotspots of paranormal activity. And chat, I'm just going to be honest. Stuff happened last night I can't explain. Stuff happened last night I cannot explain. And remember when I said that I wanted to get a hit off of my my ghost gadget? I got it. I got it last night. And it did happen. It did happen. So pretty pleased about how that worked out. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So the guy from Fredericksburg Paranormal, he had these music boxes that were connected to motion sensors. So that if something broke the motion sensor, if something triggered the motion sensor, the music box would go off. Okay, cool. I went on ahead and just watched him set up shop. He put the music box with the motion sensor at the top of the stairs, and then he put out the flashlights. He put out motion sensors of his kind. I put out the motion sensor that I got, and then what happened next? And then we started. Oh, and he also set up a laser grid. He set up one of the laser grids. Now, here's something I'm gonna talk about: buffering, buffering of doom, buffering ring of doom. I know, right? I know. So what happened was the lights, the flashlights. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about the flashlights. This is the thing I was the most skeptical about, but I didn't say anything because this was Fredericksburg Paranormal's show. This was their platform. This was their stage. I was just there as a passenger. I was there just to go ahead and follow along. Let them lead, T. Let them lead. And I was seeing the flash. Now let me talk a little bit about the flashlight. The flashlight. I don't want to say gimmick. It sounds wrong. The flashlight technique when you're doing paranormal studies. So you get one of those mag lights that has the head that screws a little bit. And what you do is you get the lamp. You get the lamp just at that point where it will turn on and turn off, and the slightest movement will make it turn off or turn on, right? And when you get it to that fine balance between the two, you set the flashlight down and you basically ask the spirit, the entity, whatever you want to refer to it as, you tell it to try and turn the flashlight on or turn the flashlight off. Okay. Now here's the thing. I've done some research on the flashlight technique. Okay. Oh, thank you for those bits. Thank you for those bits, Mike. I certainly do appreciate it. But the flashlight investigation approach is, and another 300 biddies. I may be buffering out here, chat, but at least I can still get spam phone calls. Anyway, so the thing about the flashlight method when they use that in investigations is the heat and the cold can make the parts inside the flashlight expand or contract. Okay? And thank you again, Mike, for those biddies. I certainly do appreciate it. And the thing about the expanding and contracting of these of the inner workings of the flashlight, well, they can generate false positives. And when I read the write-up about the flashlights, I'm sitting there going, okay, that's kind of tricky. That's kind of weird. And it's also not very reliable. If I disappear, it's because you're getting ready for the drive. No, I totally get it. I totally get that. And, if Mike is driving you, fantastic. Have him drive and, just try to get some shut-eye on the way there. But remember you are, you're doing good things. You're doing good things. And thank you again, Mike, for those biddies. I do appreciate it. I am glancing. So anyway, the flashlight approach to paranormal investigation is a little dicey, but here's what I noticed. We're in the caretaker's house. The flashlights are going off and going on, and I'm filming it. I'm filming it. So Jason, I got the video cut out, but is audio still working? Because it says I'm streaming. If audio is working, then that's I'm good with that. If audio is out, then I'm talking to myself. Even though I've got people in chat. I'll wait for audio to get caught up. Hopefully I'm still on. It's weird too because Streamlabs is saying that I've got a green signal. It's saying that I'm still streaming, but odd. Anyway. So what we noticed though about the flashlights that the guy from Fredericksburg Paranormal had set up was they were going on and off and on and off and on and off while Phil and I were there. But we also picked up a second group that was joining us instead of for the full 3 hours. They were just joining us for the hour and a half. There was three young ladies. They joined us. And when they joined us, the flashlights never went off. The flashlights never went off. And it was at the end of the night, I said to Phil, I said, did you notice the thing about the flashlights? He's like, yeah. And I said, huh, okay. That's interesting. So that was one of the first things that I started to come around with the whole idea of maybe there is something to the flashlight technique. I'm still not 100% sold on it, but I did notice that when the women stepped into the group, the lights stopped going, stopped turning on and turning off. So that's dicey. All right. And we were walking around and we were asking questions and we were doing stuff in the caretaker's house. And the only way I can describe the caretaker's house was that the silence that was in the house is smothering. That's the best way I can describe it. It was a heavy, smothering silence. And then we all got downstairs in the main floor and we started asking questions. And in the middle of some of our questions, I'm thinking about the string now. The music box that was at the top of the stairs, that kept going off at random times. And there was nobody upstairs. The only way someone could have come inside to the top of the stairs, they would have had to have rappelled from the inside. Okay? So yeah. There was nobody upstairs. There was absolutely nobody upstairs. And yet the sensors kept getting triggered. You know, the upstairs music box kept going off at well, and in some cases the music box went off in response to us. Sometimes it would play for a few seconds. Sometimes it would play for 15 to 20 seconds. Sometimes it would play for 5 seconds and cut out. But music was the theme of the night. Music was the theme of the night. And what I meant by that was the guy who was taking care of us from Fredericksburg Paranormal, he basically said that he was doing an EVP a night or two ago, and he said, and he played country music, played the country music clip for whatever was in the house. He said, "Did you like that?" And according to John, he said that the ghost replied in the EVP, "No." So I went on ahead and said, "I have some music, I'd like to play it." And John said, "Go ahead and play it." And I was pretty much the paranormal DJ, because the first song I played was "Ain't That a Kick in the Head." And when I cut it off, I paused it on Spotify, and no more than 5 seconds after I did that, the woman that was sitting next to me, the woman who was joining the group later on, that was also how I respond to country music. Well, wait a sec. Hear me out. So I paused the music, and no more than 5 seconds after I paused the music, the woman sitting next to me had an app, and already I was skeptical. About the app, because apps can be very easily manipulated and tweaked. That's strike one about apps. Strike two about apps for me concerning paranormal investigations is the kind of app she had. The app she had was that device you sometimes see on paranormal shows, where it either types out or speaks a word that it perceives that the spirit is working through and saying, this is the word that I want to communicate. And after I had paused, Ain't That a Kick in the Head, the woman's app said devil. And I mean, you could have heard a pin drop in our group. And Phil said, well, Frank Sinatra was known as the Blue-Eyed Devil. And I said, yeah, but I just played Dean Martin. And we all had a good laugh about that. And I noticed that my camera was getting low on juice, so I went on ahead and swapped out batteries. And as I'm swapping out batteries, her app went off again, and it said camera. And I want to say that her app went off like one or two more times during it went off one or two more times during the investigation, but it wasn't going off all night. It was not going off all night. Meanwhile, my H4n is recording everything, and my camera, I recorded most of what was going on. And then there were the EVPs. Now, the EVPs, there were some that I just could not hear. And I think it was due to the lack of quality of the speaker, because what John was doing was he was recording and playing back on the recorder that he was using. And the reason why this particular model of a Panasonic recorder is so popular with paranormal investigators is that apparently it didn't sell well on the open market because it would pick up random EVPs, and people couldn't do what they wanted to do with their recordings. So whatever model of this Panasonic camera is, or sorry, Panasonic recorder is, it is the most sought after recorder for ghost hunters, and it is it goes for like $1,000 to $2,000 on eBay. That's how badly people want this particular Panasonic recorder. While some of the EVPs that we heard that night I did not think were intelligible, and I was honest. I said I think my imagination is filling in the blanks of the other words that I am or am not hearing. There were some that were absolutely unmistakable. I asked the question, do you want us to leave? And I heard it. I heard it in the EVP say, and never come back. I heard it say that. And there was actually one EVP that was so clear and so intense, everybody heard it. And I know I captured it on my on our reaction to it. I know we captured it on film. And that's the thing I got to do. I got to sit down now and review this audio and review this video. When am I going to do that? Not really sure. I would love to say I could do it today, but the problem with doing it today is that I've got my mom coming over at 1:00, and my aunt and uncle are going to be with her, and I'm going to be cooking for them. So I'm going to be lucky if I get a nap, and then I'm going to turn around and start cooking dinner for my aunt and uncle. So, and through all this, through all the EVPs, the walking around, we were hearing noises upstairs. Something was moving upstairs, and Phil Rossi, good gravy, that guy. So Phil went upstairs by himself and basically positioned himself behind the sensor of the music box. So at the top of this, so he's at the top of the stairs in the dark by himself with his recorder, and he is he's standing there, and the music box went off on its own in front of Phil. And the way Phil described it was, he said something was up there with me, and I felt the walls closing in. So there was a lot of stuff happening at the caretaker's house that night. A lot of stuff. And we basically went over to our room. And we had everything set up. We were all set and ready to go. We went live last night at 11:45, 11:50. I was really super stoked. Everything was ready to go. Cameras were up and running. I said, okay, lights out. We do lights out, and my camera is not performing the way it did when I did the test run here at my house. Yeah, okay. Okay, buddy. I'm in that part of Virginia where somebody actually has a sign in their backyard that says, Trump in 2024, stop the madness. All right, anyway, so Phil and I start to do some troubleshooting. We are also having issues with the stream itself. Kind of what you're seeing here, only we were stationary. And I think what it was Phil was running his stream through my hotspot. I was running my stream through my hotspot, and just running my stream through the hotspot through my phone's hotspot. That was challenging the phone. Pretty amazing, pretty intently. Sorry. Still, look. I got to bed at 3 this morning. Okay, my words are hard today. My words are very, very hard. But yeah. We were having technology issues left and right. It was rough. It was really hard. But we adjusted. Instead of doing a night camera, which I'm hoping I can fix and remedy. Instead of the night camera, we did what was called campfire mode. And that was where we took a lantern, an electric lantern that Phil brought, and we went ahead and put that in the center of the room, and then we basically did our EVPs and investigation from there. Now in our room, the James Madison suite, the motion sensor that I purchased, it never went off. I pointed it out several times. I asked if the spirit or entity in the room would activate it. Didn't happen. We did a couple of EVP sessions, and we did one. We did a full recording without any breaks, and then we did smaller EVP sessions where we would go back and listen to it. So here's the upside downside. The downside was that we did not hear anything EVP wise when we replayed it. We didn't hear anything. However, when we were doing the EVP and we were listening, I asked a question and something moved by the door. And it was clear. I heard it, Phil heard it. It was clear. Something was at the door. And there is that thought in the back of my mind saying, okay, look, this house is old, it's probably just settling. And I mentioned that to the owner of Belle Grove, and she came back with a very matter-of-fact reply. She said, no, this house is over 300 years old. It's done settling. And yeah, exactly, Panic. That's the thing that I find even more fascinating. And I gotta make sure that we isolate it from last night. But there was a thump that was so loud. Not only did we hear it, but so did folks in chat. Which, honestly, I was very happy about that. Because that was an unexpected bonus. To get something so clear and so loud. Yeah. Yeah, and at first I said, well, that could have been our neighbors. But we met our neighbors from across the way. If they were up at 2 a.m. with us, man, they were party animals. I just got to say, they were party animals. But it was definitely clear enough that even chat heard it. So I thought that was pretty impressive. And again, something I can't explain. Then we, so when we started, I don't know what you all saw from your point of view, but from my point of view, one of the things that I felt, and that's the best way I can describe it, I felt it, was a very heavy silence. It wasn't as smothering as the silence that I heard or that I felt over at the caretaker's house. And I do want to stress that I know you can't feel silence, but I think you know what I mean. I think you know what I mean when I say there is sometimes a silence that is so intense you almost feel like you're struggling to catch your breath. And that's the way it was over at the caretaker's house. In our room, there was a silence that didn't feel oppressive, but it did feel it felt very welcoming. It was a delightful. I mean, these are the words that I'm using to describe it: delightful, welcoming, and I'm talking about silence. And I know how that sounds, and I know you're like, T, that's not what silence is. Silence is just the absence of sound. I get that. I do get that. But I can only tell you the emotions that are... I mean, there is such thing as an awkward silence. There's an uncomfortable silence. There's a... there are varying degrees of quiet. And in our room, at the beginning of the night, I thought it was fine. I was like there... You know, I am picking up some kind of juju here. I don't know what that juju is, but I am perceiving something. I do think there is something here. You know, Panic, like a library, like, you know, when you walk into a library and there, you know, if it inspires awe, you know, or you walk into a library and you know that you've got to keep that noise down. A sensation, if you will. Yeah, that's another good one. That's another good one, Jason. And I bring this up because Phil and I were doing EVP sessions, and then we look at the time, and I mean, even with the slightly false start that we had, where we started the investigation in earnest about 12:15, 12:20, after we tried to smooth out as much of the technical issues as we could. It was already 1:30 in the morning, and we were like, "Wow, library, welcome, happy silence." Very true there. Very true for you, Panic. Very true. But what I mean is that the time flew by. That would be the first thing I would say. Time just blinked by me. It really blinked by me. I'm like catching my breath of how incredibly fast the time went last night. And I hope you all enjoyed it. I really do hope you enjoyed it. And yes, before you ask, yes, Phil and I are definitely doing this again. We're definitely doing this again. We're planning to do it in September. We have a location selected. We just gotta make the reservation and make it happen. So yeah, it was great. But here was the funny thing. We took a quick little little riff break, chatted a bit with everybody that was with us in chat, and then said, all right, let's do some let's do some spirit box sessions. And the spirit box session that we did, it was, I think it's called the Entis method. And what it is you wear a blindfold and you put on headphones so that you're listening to the spirit box. And when you're listening to the spirit box, you're basically reading off what you hear while somebody asks you questions. And the idea is that when you ask the questions, that's when the spirit box is triggered. The first session I would say that Phil did, it got very compelling. It got very compelling answers. Second one was all over the park. And then I got on it, and I was having a weird time with the spirit box because it was giving me half words and partial words, and it wasn't what I expected. So I was like, okay, I guess this is normal. I tried the AM band, then I tried the FM band, and it just, I was really struggling with it. And but the thing that I noticed, and Phil picked up on it too, was that in the second, third, and fourth session, there was a notable change in the room, and that change felt like we were alone. It felt like a bed and breakfast. It didn't feel like we were somewhere where there was paranormal activity. It just felt like a room. There was a I think Phil had a great analogy for it. When you first walked into the room, it's a beautiful room, but you had that sensation of holding your breath, and now it felt like we had just exhaled. And that was exactly how it felt. We just looked around, Phil and I, but we just kind of knew they're done. Whatever was here, it's no longer here. We're done. And that was when we wrapped up stream, and that was it. That was done. We wrapped up stream, and I will tell you this, chat. That bed was super comfortable. Oh my God, I slept like a rock. I felt great this morning. So let's talk about this morning. And I really wish I'd grabbed either my camera, but everything, I'd packed up everything. And I think that's the second lesson I learned, which is don't pack everything up until I'm actually going to be physically leaving the house. Okay? Because I'd packed everything up, and this morning, I heard something coming from the elevator shaft. Our room had a private elevator, and it's totally working, and it is also it runs completely silent. But there was a clanging. It was like a katunka, and it was a real sharp sound. And I just thought to myself, okay, it's the pipe settling. But it was rhythmic. It was very rhythmic, and it was like I would start to fall back. It woke me up, and I want to say I was up maybe at about 6, but I kept hearing that clanging, that katunka, inside the elevator shaft, and I just made the assumption it must be pipes, it must be the house settling or something like that. And it was really, I would just start to fall asleep, I'd hear the noise. And it's real easy to dismiss it. And even Phil heard it. But this is my one of the many lessons that I took. One of the many lessons I took from this whole experience. If I can keep a device going, if I can keep a device recording, I need to do that. Because This thing was rhythmic. It was constantly going off, constantly going off, constantly going off. And then Phil and I get up in the morning. Or, we get up, rather. We get up, and we're packing up whatever's left over. We're changing our clothes, brushing our teeth, doing what you do in the morning. Not a sound from the elevator shaft. Not a friggin' sound. And it's so frustrating because I have no... Oh, God, really? Jeez. Another Trump sign. Wow. It's a cult, man. It's a cult. Anyway, sorry. That's not... Speaking of hauntings. Okay, so yeah, what's frustrating is that this thing was happening, but we didn't record any of it. So somehow I've got to figure out a way of making sure that I record. I just keep recording well into the night, because I heard it, Phil heard it, but the moment we started walking around and getting ready to leave, it was the sound stopped, and it was a very clear sound. I would say that is more the inconclusive evidence of the day. But I'm just, last night and this morning, things happened that I cannot explain. And yes, there will be a highlight reel. Yes, I'm going to listen to the audio. I'm going to, and I am going to get together with Phil and probably do a rehash of what I found and what Phil found, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it was really an amazing experience. Now, if you're thinking, or if you're wondering, well, T, did you feel? Okay, I'll make sure to do that, honey. Do I feel like I solved the? No worries, hon. No worries. That's fine. But do I feel like? Do I feel like I know conclusively what I experienced or what was out there? No. Did I solve any mysteries of the great unknown or the afterlife? No, I did not do that either. Did things happen last night that I can't explain? Yes, they did. That's what I saw last night. And funny thing is that the owner of the house, it was really nice. The owner of the house actually sat down with us and had breakfast with us. And the bed and breakfast, by the way, this is a beautiful bed and breakfast. I mean, I'm actually thinking about taking Pip with me and having us, spend the night, because she wants to spend the night. She wants to get away, just the two of us. And no, we won't stream it. But yeah, I mean, the bed and breakfast itself was fantastic. I had a blueberry cheesecake stuffed French toast for breakfast this morning. Oh, that was good. And it's a wonderful bed and breakfast. Wonderful bed and breakfast. But she sat down with us and we were talking about, that's when she says, yeah, this house is 300 years old. It doesn't settle. It doesn't do that anymore. I have been in old buildings, though, that have had pipes that have made that same sound. So that's another reason why I think it's inconclusive. But even she said, if you've ever done this before, or if you've ever done paranormal investigations before, we've been told by other investigation teams that they are always impressed with the results from Belgrove, because it is so active. And she said, so don't expect this kind of response everywhere you go. And I was I thought that I was just as candid with her. I said, look, I'm not. The way I look at anything that Phil and I do in the future with Don't Turn Around and with a paranormal investigation, it's going to be a bit like going to Vegas. You don't go to Vegas and say, yeah, I'm going to clean up at the blackjack table. You don't. You don't say that. When you go to Vegas, you basically cross your fingers and hope luck is on your side. And the woman that runs Belgrove, she said more or less the same thing. She said it's like fishing. You cast your line, and at that point there's nothing you can do. And there's nothing, you are reliant not just on the fish, but you're also reliant on your own skill in catching said fish. So there's a lot to what happened in the past 12 hours. There's a lot that I'm. That's the other takeaway that I'm going from this. It was something I heard in the Don't Turn Around podcast, which, by the way, you can find Don't Turn Around on Apple Podcasts, you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on Google Play. You can just do a search for Phil Rossi Don't Turn Around, or Don't Turn Around Phil Rossi. That's with 2 S's. And you just go on ahead and you do that. You listen to Phil's very honest, very blunt, and very sincere, respectful look at what he perceives as the paranormal. And in a couple of the episodes, they talk about Phil talked to some investigators, and they said that the older they get, the longer it takes them to recover from a paranormal investigation, because they're processing it. And I feel like that's what I've been doing all morning, and that's why I did this stream. That's why I did this unexpected stream. I'm just processing everything, and I'll probably still be processing it well into the week, because there was some stuff that I'm like, no, I'm not buying into that. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I'm not buying into that. There was some other stuff that I go, okay, I can't explain that. I cannot explain that. And I've said this before on this channel. I will say it again. Yes, I am a believer. Yes, I am a man of faith. Yes, I am a proud Episcopalian. Yes, I believe in God. Yes, I believe in the teachings and the philosophy and the life of Jesus Christ. I also believe in science. Bit burned out on this whole witch hunt that people are trying to discredit Anthony Fauci, because let's be honest, Dr. Fauci was a voice of reason during the pandemic, and it's still a voice of reason. He is still the voice of reason. So I believe in science as much as I believe in God, and much as I believe in faith. I also believe in science. And I remember telling Phil that at the very beginning. I said, I don't want to be that ghost bro that thinks everything's a demon, that thinks everything's a ghost. I want to be able to debunk it if I can. I want to be able to explain it. At the same time, I also want, as Fox Mulder would say, I want to believe, So yeah, I'm processing it all, and now comes the time where we go through all the evidence, and that's going to be a trip in itself. It really is. And I appreciate you all being on this journey with me. I really do. It's been great. Thank you all. I'm wrapping up stream right now. Thank you for the tips, bit subs hosts and auto hosts. Thank you so much for being here today. I know this is a quick stream, little quick touch base, little quick post-mortem. I will be back Thursday night with the Thursday double play. It will be Phasmophobia at 10:30, and before that, I will be running with Steve the Blind Gamer Sailor in Destiny 2. I just have to remember how to Destiny. If I can get online tonight, I will, but I want to see first how things with the family go. If I can get on, I will. But hey, thank you, everybody. Have a great Wednesday, and I'll talk to you soon. All right. Will I release the raw? Oh, well, real quick. Will I release the raw files along with the edits? Yes. Yes. Okay. Have a great day, everybody.